You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
All right, punters and dribblers, welcome back to another All Talk Best Of. We had so many hot studs through the door this year that we had to break it over 2 episodes. First up, Matt Rogers. Heard of him? Yes, you have. Jewel International and a jewel in our crown, sporting crown.
Liked it.
Thank you. Matty talking about Origin, his debut for Origin, and probably some other things more specific to Origin. Obviously, the notes that I'm reading here just says Origin. So, you know, is he talking about single Origin coffee? Is he talking about state of Origin football? Is he talking about the origins of life? Was it comets? Was it like an asteroid that was carrying microbial life to Earth and that's sort of seeded life here? Is that what Matt would be talking about?
Potentially. I can't recall. You'll have to find out.
I imagine it might be State of Origin. And
but we can't be sure.
Might be his Origin debut. I'm now looking at those notes there. It seems like something's been added.
Okay.
So his debut for State of Origin.
Take it away, Matt. When it came to State of Origin, how did that go down with the old man? Because
that was a bit of a fuck you to Dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, get that up, you old man. No, I'll tell you how it happened. So Wayne Bennett, so I'd played for Queensland my whole life, right? So I'd played under 12s, under 15s, open school boys, all for Queensland. And I felt like that was who I was. What a lot of people don't realise is my old man grew up in Queensland too. So he played his first grade game for the Gold Coast Tigers, which is now the Southport Tigers. Played in the Centres in 1972 when the Gold Coast Tigers won the premiership. Outside him was a sprightly young flying winger by the name of Clive Palmer.
Not. Wait,
is
is that the Clive Palmer? Palmer?
Yeah.
No way.
So he's whacked him on.
Oh, well, yeah.
He's whacked him on.
He's let it go. He's let himself go. Whoa, I did not know that.
Nah.
Yeah, so my old man as a 16-year-old was playing first grade for up here in Queensland. And my grandfather, he actually was a big St George fan. My uncle, my dad's brother, who's about 12 years older than my dad, got signed to play for St George. And he went away to Vietnam and came back not the same, and unfortunately took his life, and it was a horrible story. My old man and my grandfather was a big St George man, and he took my dad at the end of that season. My dad had met my mum, and my grandfather said, I want to take you to Sydney. And Dad didn't want to go because he didn't want to leave my mum. You know, they were 17 years old at the time, and my grandfather said, you know, I'm taking you. So my mum and Dad ran away. They sort of basically ran off, and they couldn't be found. And my grandfather found my dad and said, I've got to get you to Sydney, mate. There's an opportunity for you. And he said, well, I'm not going if I can't take my wife. I can't take Carol. And he said, well, you're not married. He goes, well, I'll marry her on my 18th birthday, and and I'll go to Sydney then. So they did. They got married on my dad's 18th birthday, and they went to Sydney. It was the day after my dad's birthday. They weren't allowed to get married on his birthday, so they got married the day after my dad's 18th birthday. My mum was a born and bred Gold Coast girl. She was one of 13 kids. So I've got about 4,000 cousins in Queensland. So when the opportunity came around to play for Queensland, well, when State of Origin first started, the reality was my old man should have played for Queensland. Given the fact that he played his first grade and stuff up here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's actually the problem here, not you.
Yeah. So Wayne Bennett called me, and he knew the whole story. He knew my family history, obviously, and he asked me, you know, who I'm going to play for, and I just sort of said, well, I didn't think I had a choice because Dad played for New South Wales. I thought I was going to be forced to play for New South Wales. And he said, no, mate, that's not the case. He goes, you've got a choice. And he goes, and if you want to play for Queensland, I'll pick you now. And this was 2 weeks before Queensland, before the Origin sides were going to be picked. So I'm like, oh, that sounds good. He said, don't tell me now. And out of respect to my family, like Wayne said, don't tell me now. Ring your dad and ask your dad. So I rang Dad and I said, Dad, Wayne Bennett rang me and he wants me to play for Queensland. And he goes, well, why wouldn't you? He goes, you've never played. So you've played for Queensland your whole life. He goes, your mum will be over the moon that she can actually support the state where she grew up, and all your family's up there. And So I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should play for Queensland. That's where my heart is. And I rang Wayne back and I said, I'm in. And he said to me, he said, right. He goes, well, you're in the side. He said, unless I hear about it from someone else. So I'm a 21-year-old kid, just been told I'm in the Queensland side, and I've got to keep it quiet for 2 weeks. The person I was worried about the most was the old man. I'm like, he's going to screw this to me. He was the CEO of Cronulla at the time. He's going to tell someone. Wayne Bennett's going to find out about it. He's not going to pick me, and then New South Wales will never pick me. So, it was a nerve-wracking 2 weeks, but we made it, and I ended up playing for Queensland, which was amazing. So I actually remember I didn't tell Mum, and I told Dad not to tell Mum because I wanted to go and see her and tell her that I was going to play for Queensland. And mate, my mum, she had cancer at the time, so she was sick. And for her to hear me tell her I was going to play for Queensland, she just broke down in tears. It was a pretty special time. So it's something that I if you ask me to do it again, there's not even a second thought in my mind. It's I'm playing for Queensland every day of the week. Yeah,
that's awesome. That must have been a wonderful thing to be able to experience, to be able to have.
Yeah, I mean to play. I mean, my first game was at the old Lang Park, in 1999. To play Origin there, and we won the game 9-8, and I kicked a winning field goal, so it was sort of it was pretty cool experience.
How old were you then?
I think I was 22, maybe.
Shit, that's pretty hectic, hey? Kicking the winning field goal at 22 years old.
No, it would have been 23. 23. Would have been 23. Yeah, it was. It was insane. Like you think you sort of can handle it all. It got to the point. I remember coming back from the game, and the pilot of the plane was a Queenslander. And I had to fly back to Sydney, obviously. And he invited me up to sit in the cockpit and fly with him and stuff. And I'm like, got the controls of this jet with 200 people behind me. He's like, you can do it, mate. You can handle this. You can handle Origin. that was before the days of not allowed in the cockpits and stuff like that. So it was insane. I've got to tell you. But it just went on for weeks, and I was just like, no more. I had to tell the press guy at the Sharks, I don't want to speak to anyone anymore. Like, it's too much, it knocked me around a bit.
Next up here is really close personal friend of Tom and I, Ronnie Blakey.
He's almost the story of 2023 in terms of a new friend of the stable.
Well, our bromance with Ronnie is now the stuff of legend. Really, really close with Ronnie. I think it's a two-way street. I'd consider him a brother now. And that's just, it is what it is. He came on, we shot the shit, we talked all things career for Ronnie, and we talked about whether or not you wear undies in your wetsuit. Now, the answer couldn't have been clearer. Not everyone in Hello Sport gets it still.
Yep.
But safe to say that Tobler made it look like a cuck.
Yeah, one of the great cucks. Can you take us back to the start of your sort of surf industry journey? You started off in magazines, right?
Yeah, started off in mags, glory period for print publishing, and also glory period for magazines, because surfing just went through this radical boom through the basically kind of the late 80s through to the early 2000s. It was just on fire. So surf mags were fucking had spines. There was, every magazine, the page count is basically a combination of ads and editorial, and the more ads you get, the more pages you get in the mag as well. So we were making 200-page surf mags, and they were fucking thick.
Yeah.
Mate.
There's a lot of just photo specials because you just needed to fill those pages up. But advertising wise, they just were queuing up, and there was no social media there. It was radio, print, TV. And so,
What do you reckon drove that surfing boom through the 80s into the early 2000s?
It's just sort of the same as it is now. It's just I think a lifestyle that people want to aspire to. It looks free, it looks fun, it looks healthy, and everyone dips their toe in.
But, we're about to actually. I don't want to bring ourselves into.
I thought you guys surf. You're sponsored, right?
Well, we are sponsored only very recently by Billabong. We were actually tossing up whether to wear the wetties for the interview.
You guys did well. You put them on the right way.
Yeah, you didn't see me put it on back to front before I fucking sat down.
But that was magic. Fuck, you pulled it off. You had me fooled. I thought you You grew up in the water.
No, look,
Well,
I mean,
no.
I can swim, but I can't surf. But no, we've got to. Can you explain our dream, Eddie? Maybe.
Well, I will explain our dream, and you can see whether it's possible. And we may have got something wrong here. Tom and I, from country towns, just have always dreamt of getting in the water and fucking ripping, right? But when you grow up out of Sydney all the way from the coast, you're sort of like a little bit apprehensive as to whether you've got what it takes
to shred.
So I love the WSL, love the tour. I've always watched it. And my mate who I used to work with was telling me, he'd said this years ago, and it just stuck in my brain. I mentioned it to Tom recently, that he said that you can enter QS events if you want to. You can just pay the fucking admin fee and just rock up on the day and fucking get in there and rip in.
Mate, you can.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the best. Have a crack. There was actually maybe 15 years ago, there was this guy, Wade Glasscock, who was fucking in his 40s. And he was going down the beach. He was a character.
Yeah.
Everyone loved having him around events. But I don't think I ever saw him catch a wave. I saw him at events where the surf was kind of like just a little bit over 4 foot, and he just stretched on the beach the whole heat.
He's like, I'm not going out.
Or maybe go stand on the rock jump or just where he was about to enter the lineup and in knee-deep water and just kind of
Look
scope the lineup but never actually go out.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
Well,
I respect
He was
that.
placed.
Yeah.
He was on the ratings.
Yeah,
that's all we want. We want to get a national ranking, but also we have designs on at least learning how to surf. Like Jacko Baker said he's going to help us out.
Yeah, Jack
So
has
he's
a mate of yours.
No, he's
a friend of the show.
He's a friend
Friend of the show.
And sort of, I think when we spoke to the Kamchatka boys, who he knows, and then it sort of got teed up that way. But so he's going to. I think we also probably have maybe a slight false sense of confidence in our ability, just like coordination wise, which you probably need a little bit of confidence.
We did a little bit of skating back in the day.
Skateboarding, I
Does that
can
help?
snowboard.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this actually? Do you snowboard? Do you do any of that sort of stuff? How different is it, like the mechanics in terms of just like what you need to be doing?
Definitely handy. If you've snowboarded or skateboarded a bit, you'll find it easier to surf.
That's good.
Yeah.
The only the last time I did go out on a board, I couldn't sit on it. I kept tipping over, and I didn't think that was a thing.
We had to get a bit more is yours is more leaders?
Well, we're getting boards made as well. So
more leaders.
Yeah, leaders. That's how they call it these days. More foam, basically.
More foam.
Yeah. Okay. Foam's your friend. It'll float you. But you've picked a good coach, Jackson Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call him the Carnival Strongman. He's got a good look to him. He doesn't look like a surfer at all.
No,
He's
he
the
doesn't.
least likely pro surfer you've ever seen. Looks like he should be making pies in a bakery.
That's right. So we're gonna let him re-qualify. He's obviously on the Challenger Series at the moment. Let him re-qualify. Let him get his stripes back, and then he's gonna take us out. We'll probably go up to Merriweather and fucking rip in with the boys.
See how we can go.
But we just need to be able to read things a little bit, and then
if you thought we could surf, you were grossly mistaken. We can't at all. We're not.
Oh, yeah, well, you've put the wetsuits on. You were threatening to test them out with a piss.
Yes.
Did you piss in them?
No, look, I didn't piss in them only because I didn't know. I don't know.
You don't know when you're going to get in the water.
I don't want to piss in it sitting in the seat.
No, exactly.
If I'm near the ocean, I'll piss in it.
Yeah.
Give it a good run out, and then we'll get
Everyone pisses in their wetsuit
Okay.
when they're in the ocean.
Yes.
Now this seems
not
like
outside of the
this
ocean.
seems like a great place to time to ask. Our producer up there, Tom Tobler, right, pretends like he surfs. I didn't know he surfs. He pretends like he's in the surf every weekend, and he's lived in a wetty his whole life. He told us that if we wore undies in our wetsuit, they would stay dry. Is that true? Or will they get wet?
He's not a surfer.
Yeah, that's what we said. That's what we said.
Nah, for starters, don't wear undies
Exactly
under your wetsuit.
right. That's what we were saying.
Very uncomfortable.
Because I was like, surely we wear undies? That seems strange.
You wear undies under your wetsuit if you got a tiny dick and you're scared that your towel's going to fall off in the car park. That's the truth. But you don't wear undies under your wetsuit, for starters.
Yeah.
And nothing's dry. It's called a wetsuit. It actually lets the water in a little bit, and your body, it holds a bit of water, and your body warms that water, keeps you warm.
Okay.
You piss in a wetsuit, generally it'll kind of like soak into the suit a little bit, puts a nice little kind of marinade in there.
Yeah, perfect.
They're never the same. They're like got this tang, this fruity tang to them. You don't want to go out with a sponge full of piss. Sharks will smell it. Like it's not good. But everyone pisses in their suit. Generally, it dribbles out the leg.
There you go.
Yeah, look at mate.
Listen, thank God you
Yeah,
came in,
mate.
Ronnie. We would have been. Imagine us in the car park with our new boards and our new wetties, fucking, and our undies
boxer
on.
shorts on.
We've learnt two things today too. He doesn't surf and he's got a tiny dick.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Sorry, mate.
Anyway, so that's on our horizon. We're starting our own surf gang, and
perfect.
so
We've got our eye on the maroon.
Billabong's hyped actually. I talked to a couple of the boys.
Oh,
They're
yeah?
happy to have you on the team, and
sick.
they're keen to get you in for a store signing or something.
yeah,
Cool.
with
Go
Parker.
off.
and a
Well,
couple of other big dogs.
they said they want to link us up with Parker and Hockey soon, so that seemed about right.
Yeah,
Couple of
that's
world
it.
champions.
I'm just thinking, like, if you're going surfing, you know, if you're going to get coached by someone, Jackson Baker's the perfect person.
Yep.
Terrific.
You'll have a good time. If you're going to go out with surfers, Ockie and Parko is a pretty good matchup.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah, two of the true original Mad Dogs.
Oh,
So,
great.
yeah,
We love that.
You're well set up.
Well, this is good
because
this is
we
exciting.
were a little apprehensive about going out into the lineup, not knowing what we're doing. But if you take a couple of world champions,
Got
with you,
world
it should be
champs,
okay.
yeah.
Mate, there's not that much to it.
I don't want to
The
drop
first
in on
step is
someone.
getting out there.
Yeah.
I just want to drop in on someone. I don't know. I don't understand the etiquette yet. You know, I don't get flogged on the fucking beach for dropping in on some local. That's the only thing I'm scared of.
Just run with it. You kind of had a dial the other day when you guys were talking about it. You know, get up. If you sort of actually attack it on the offensive, don't be defensive out there and call people off waves as a beginner, an adult learner. You'll be fine, mate.
Get off me fucking wave, cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat
Oh,
it.
shit. That's
Jesus
funny.
Christ.
Next up, we've got Liam Knight, Bulldogs, big bop up front rower. And he talks about his time at the Rabbitohs where Supercoach Wayne Bennett, after I think their team got fucking humped into the earth, basically the next training session he came in with his pants off. So I'll leave it there and I'll let Liam take it away. You have played under some coaches of note, Wayne Bennett being one of them.
Yeah.
Sticky down in Canberra.
Yeah.
Who else have you? Were you a Desert Manly or
I had Trent Robinson at Roosters.
Trent at the Roosters?
Trent at Roosters for my 6 minutes before I was punted.
Shout out to Trent.
Shout out to Robbo.
And then who was it?
Trent Barrett.
Trent Barrett.
First year coaching.
The dark years of the Trent. Sorry, Trent. We just you let go Nico Hines and we fucking sucked while you coached us. So
It is what it is.
it is what it is. We forgive him. But I guess what I was interested to know is like you're getting to be like coached by a Wayne Bennett who's 4 billion games, and then to someone like Cameron Ciraldo, not to compare, not to who's better, but just what's that experience like of having can you notice the difference in experience, or is it just sort of another coach?
I think you know his experience. Like with Wayne, he just handled situations really good. He coached like I don't know how many he was when he was 800, 900, whatever it was. Would have been in the 900s or
Yeah,
something.
it's fuckloads. I think that the
just-
numerical value is
He just-
fuckloads of
He
rugby
just
league.
knew how to handle situations. Like, and for me personally, having someone like a Wayne Bennett, he pulled me into his office like when we first got there. He goes, mate, I was in a bit of trouble the years leading up. You know, I was a bit of a wild wire, whatever you call it.
Wildcat.
Wildcat.
Wild boy?
Wild boy,
yeah, whatever.
wild man.
Yeah, loose was, I had a loose tag
Loose
on me.
unit.
Loose tag was
Wild big
floating
gear.
around, hanging off my shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care what you've done, where you've come from. Like, I just care about what you do now. And what you do now, you can have a future at this club, and I'll back you until you show me that you're not worth backing. But until then, you got opportunity here, and I'll back you. And I went, well, someone like Wayne Bennett saying that, I just went, I'm just gonna pull my head in here. And he was massive for me, like turning my career around. I wasn't doing much at the time, and someone like him was so helpful. Just like he does back it. He owns his word, and whatever he says, he'll do. And had complete trust. We had like conversations, I wouldn't talk to my mates about, and he's just there with a level head and certain situations. I remember we lost to Penrith by about 50 points in Dubbo, maybe 2020, maybe.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, it was at the grand when I was run to the grand final that year, and we lost by 50.
2021.
21 when we made the grand final, and the Monday.
Yeah.
It was 21, eh?
Yeah, it was 21, yeah.
The COVID year.
Yep.
So before we were in COVID in the Goldie, we got beat by 50. Monday morning, he goes, no video. I'll meet you in the gym. And then we're all in the gym waiting. Redfern, the naked centre. And he comes out the other door, and all the lights are off, and he comes through the other door. There's 2 entrances. He comes out, he rips his shirt off. He's got a tie around his head, and he's like got his coming to like maybe like Stone Cold Steve Austin music, and he's throwing out like mad like his old rig, like sliming his way in, like like doing his little dance, and everyone's just going nuts. Like he's like, you know what, boys, I don't do sad, so leave that shit in Dubbo. That's not who we are. Like, we're gonna get out to training. I don't want to hear a word about it. We're not doing video. That's in the bin. Let's go train.
And what did you?
And everyone's just going, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, mate,
So he just gets it.
He just gets it. Like he knows. You know, he's obviously pretty introverted. He's a very introverted guy. But like,
Fuck, it doesn't sound like it.
exactly, like he doesn't do that often. That was like that's exactly right. So he knows when to bring out the big guns.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
fuck,
If he does that every week, it loses.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's still cool, but it's like, it's Wayne again going on.
Yeah,
Man. Like,
Wayne's
what
got
song
his
this?
shirt
What
off
song this
again.
week, mate? Yeah, get your shirt on, mate. No,
Put it back on, mate.
put it back on.
Fucking
Mate. He was
hell.
just the funniest guy. Man.
That is so
He
funny.
is so funny. Man.
That's awesome. And so then, does the music stop and he just starts like putting his shirt back on, or is he like
Yeah.
to the fucking field and he's like leading
Let's go
everyone
train.
out there?
Like, yeah, and then like obviously we went off and like he would have to get his shirt on and get himself sorted.
That's so funny, dude.
Like he used to come into the gym and he would be pumping like, you know, whatever, house music, just big techno music. And he'd come into the gym, pull the speaker out, like the plug out of the thing. I'm not listening to that shit. And then walk off. And we'd like be silence. Like,
And he's just
and
like,
then like, that was the start of his when it south. And then he sort of got a bit into it. But then like, what are we listening to? I don't care. I'm not listening to that. And walk out of the gym. Just he run the joint.
yeah.
Yeah.
And would he spray? Like, does he have spray in him?
Yeah.
He doesn't
yeah.
seem like his voice can even get loud.
Yeah, but he's like, he sprays you in a, he's not joking, but it's still funny. Like he's hammering you and everyone's sort of laughing because like, it's just funny. Like,
Is it similar to the way he is with the media when he's pissed off? Like, you know, you see him in press conferences, like there was one the other day in Perth. I don't know if you saw it, but like they lost, didn't they? The Dolphins must have lost, right?
I saw that, yeah.
And then
yeah.
there's a
I don't want to share my opinion with you. Or something like that.
yeah. And he's going,
What's your opinion? It's my
I
opinion.
don't know. It's my opinion.
I
And
don't
it was
wanna
this
share
WA journo who doesn't know what doesn't know what the
Yeah.
fuck's going on
Yeah,
here.
he's
Like I'm
ruthless,
just trying
man.
to cover rugby league.
If he's not on, he's not. You're not
and
gonna-
Wayne just sort of like just dominated
He
it.
takes losses very bad, like especially that was obviously their finals contention. But
Yeah.
he even says like, say we have a Thursday, Friday night game, we have a loss, we play shit. He come in like he wouldn't even spray that much, but he'd just be quiet, like even worse. He's in silent treatment.
Yeah.
He goes, I hope he's have a shit weekend like I'm about to.
Oh, really?
I hope he's have a shit weekend because I know I will. And then just walks off and I'm like, oh.
That's so funny.
Oh, my
But he's
God.
got the best chat, man. Like we had one of the Polynesian boys, I won't name him, but like he didn't tie in one time. And he's like, mate, I bet if it was a fucking hamburger, you would have tied in. Like, and then, just little things like that. He just hammers people, but
That's
it's so good.
So even when he's like giving someone a bake, it's still kind of funny.
Yeah,
he's not
it's still funny.
screaming, ranting.
He's never going to scream around to you, but I've seen a few blow-ups, like he'll put it on you and you know, like,
Fuck.
fire out.
Dad's upset.
Does he-
Dad's upset. After a game one time, like just to me actually, he comes up to me and he goes, "You were pretty shit tonight," and then walked off. And I was like, I might have said, "Yeah, I know." He goes, and walks off.
Boy, shit.
I wasn't good, yeah. I wasn't good, but I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Does that stay in your mind
Yeah, I'm
always?
like,
surely.
Get me to training on Monday.
Yeah.
It was hectic.
Because you do see coaches, you know, after the game, like you do see coaches all walking around the sheds and they're sort of shaking hands and they're, you know, like talking a little bit. And it's just,
You want to know what they're saying.
you want to know what they're saying. It's
Yeah.
just funny to envisage Wayne just sort of sauntering on, just going, "Shit tonight, mate."
Yeah,
Like,
you were shit tonight.
thank you. That's
Yeah.
fucking
So
funny.
he doesn't say much after the loss. He said, "Yeah, we'll talk about it Monday. Hope you have a shit weekend." Or just like, or just won't talk at all.
Really?
Go get changed.
And what was Sticky like? How long were you at the Raiders for?
18 months.
Okay, so you were there for a minute.
Did you say any blow ups? Yeah.
Yeah, he's an angry man. He's an angry man.
Did you get on with Sticky? Like,
I got on with it. We had no issues. I had no problem with Sticky. He was just, it was a pretty stressful environment in Canberra.
and is that
When-
down to,
what-
is that
when
down
was
to his
this?
style though?
I think his style, his style. There was halfway through 17, the back end of 17 and the start of, and all of 18.
And how were the Gut Raiders going then? I can't quite remember.
That was near grand final time, wasn't it? Did they get 19?
That
They
was
got 19 grand final. So I left Canberra and went to South at this. Like I did first like 6 weeks of 4 or 5 weeks of preseason at Canberra, then went to South before Christmas, and leading into 2019 season when we had South v Canberra in the prelim, and they beat us, and Canberra beat South.
Fully.
Yeah. I was dirty on it.
So so it was stressful down there.
Well, I found it stressful. He was it was very rigid, it was just a stressful environment, much more than it needed to be.
Intense.
Intense, yeah, always. And you make a mistake and you just feel like, oh, man, what's going to come here?
Right, yeah, I know.
A couple of guys wouldn't. There was a couple of guys that got a bit, all good, but...
Some people... and do you think that's a like horses for courses? Some people are happy in certain environments. Like some players can react.
Didn't fit me. Hey, the boys were mad and the club was solid. Canberra as a whole wasn't for me. I missed the beach, missed me mates. Did
you say Canberra is a whole? Because I do agree.
As a whole wasn't for me.
I heard Isa.
I heard Canberra is a whole.
Isa or Azza?
Canberra is a whole, and
take it all you want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be moving back anytime soon.
No,
it's not the greatest joint.
Punters and Dribblers, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Ned's, the number one betting platform on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the app has, they're always constantly improving, but the app's gone to a new level recently.
It's so good now.
The profiles tab is the thing that we're talking about. Obviously, we've all got our own profiles on there where you can go and see like everything we've sort of bets we've got live, bets that we've had that have come and gone. There's like a feed that I was fucking around with today, and like you can actually just scroll through and see like all the bets that the people you follow have got coming up. You can copy them if you want, all that sort of shit. But it's humming in there.
Oh fuck yeah! I got a couple of good futures on as well. I reckon. Ethan Ewing.
I copied it today.
Bang.
I saw it. I went in there and went bang. Fuck yeah! If you've got a surfing bet on, I'm gonna go after you.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about Ethan in 2024. Punters and Dribblers, a really good feeling. So Ethan Ewing. Futures bet, WSL, get after it. Share it, copy it, get around me.
I've got one
follow
right
Tom,
now, actually.
Follow me.
Follow Sebo.
Don't
follow Tobler.
Don't follow Tobler, be a complete waste of your time. Complete waste of your time.
Yep.
I had an APL bet last night that fell fucking 1 leg short. That's annoying, but it's okay.
It is what it is. It happens, all right? This is the world of punting. You can't win them all. In fact, you probably won't. Anyway, shout out to Ned's. Get on there. Have a play around. You've got the private group, which you already know about, the About Even group, biggest group on there. The passcode is Dribbler. We'll see you in there. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Mark Bouris also came in this year, Punters and Dribblers. A very interesting yard, a very smart man, one of the great entrepreneurs that we've ever produced, Tom, I'd say. I think it's safe to say.
Yep.
Man's an absolute beast. And he talks us through when he sold Wizard Home Loans for a disgusting amount of money.
And by disgusting, you mean like not disgusting, like let me gobble that shit up.
As in like...
Put it up into a ball and stick it in me butthole. Sort of
yeah. As in you would like a...
Sit on it.
Let me sit on that thing.
Yeah, let me try and house that number up the rectum.
Correct. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And he just talks about getting that deal done and what it looked like. Kerry Packer's involved in this story as well, which makes it even better. So enjoy this one. So was it at any point close to falling over the deal?
Well, yeah, it's funny. So the very last day we had, every deal I've ever done always comes down to 2 or 3 things that are outstanding, and they're usually conditions they want or warranties that they're looking for you to guarantee something. And they're a big organisation. I didn't realise at the time, but they were the world's largest company. Their market capitalisation on the Dow Jones Index was greater than every company in Australia on the Australian Stock Exchange added up together.
Wow.
Okay. So huge.
Huge. Okay. And they were meeting on a certain day. So let's say it was a Friday morning, they were meeting to ratify the acquisition, but if it wasn't solved, they were going to walk.
Fuck.
So, and there's 3 things outstanding. And so my brother and the law firm that we were using, a small law firm, and I'll shout out, a little firm called Lander & Co., hosted a meeting with the guys from General Electric and their law firm. So they had one law firm in the morning and they bought a second law firm in the night. They had 2 massive law firms, right? And there were 10 of them, and hosted in a boardroom. And we sat and talked about these 3 matters. And it got it to a shouting match, like literally shouting match. My brother's standing over the table yelling and screaming at people. So the boss of General Electric in Australia was in the meeting. And General Electric Australia wasn't just finance, it was just everything, MRI machines, like they do everything, okay? And he said, Mark, he said, the board's meeting in 7 hours. This is like 7 o'clock at night, 7 hours time, and they're going to walk if we don't resolve these things. He said, so what I thought, he said to me, what I thought we'd do is I'm going to get my boss, who was the chairman of General Electric globally,
right,
to ring Kerry Packer to resolve these issues. I thought, fuck,
1-on-1.
this is bad,
and that's bad, right? Like you don't want Kerry to be involved. It's
no,
sort of
definitely don't. And but not only that, I don't want Kerry to say he solved it, but equally I don't want Kerry to blow it either, because he's just like Kerry's just like say I'll flip you for it, something weird like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, but is he bluffing me? I thought that's a big call. You know, the chairman of General Electric ringing Kerry Packer up. That's a massive call. So I said, well, that's okay. And mate, there's a big gamble. I said, I'll get Kerry on the phone now. Let's call your chairman. And he goes over to his lawyers, comes back. Look, Mark, can we just step outside for a moment, outside the room? I said, okay. So we walked in the room, and there was little lawyer groups in all the offices, all the spare meeting rooms, because there was a ton of lawyers there, right, and accountants. There was no spare room to talk. So we went in those days, I don't know if they still have them there, but there was a compactus room. You know, it's a room where you have all the files, and there's these sliding filing systems.
Yes.
It's a little room, right? A little room with the files in it. So we walked into the compactus room. It's like, 3 by 9 wide, right? We're standing in the room with files. He said, look, he said, no need to get Kerry to ring his chairman. He said, why don't we resolve the 3 issues just between you? He said, I'll give him one and you give him one and we'll resolve the third one. He said, so I said, well, okay, which one do you want to give me? He said, I'll give him number 1 condition. I said, okay, I'll give him number 2. And then number 3, we fucked around. In the end, we sort of split it down the middle and resolved it. It was like that. So I thought, oh, perfect. So we came out, all issues resolved, deals done. I signed, they signed, their board met, ratified the deal. We had they wanted to do a press conference 9 a.m. in the morning. So I stayed up the whole night just because a bit of shit to do during the night. We're up the whole night. About 7 o'clock in the morning, I decided to go to have an exercise because I knew I had to do a press release at 9. I thought, shit, I look like shit. I feel tired. I go and train.
Yep.
And it might buff me up a little bit and feel a bit better. So I go into the car park at the gym. I thought, I better ring Kerry. So I ring him up and I tell him what happened about them saying they're going to get their chairman, talk to him, and I think it was very funny. I said, the deal's done. And he said, good on your son. And then I told him the whole story about how I was going to put him on. But I bluffed him, And it was dead fucking silence. I said, you there? He said, listen, you fucking Greek something. He said, his share of the deal was about 120 million. He said, don't you ever gamble my $120 million ever fucking again. I said, oh, wait, come on, Kerry. He said, well, if that guy had said, yeah, let's put them on together. He said, I'm in hospital. He said, I've just had an operation. He said, last night I wouldn't have been in any condition to talk to anybody. And he said, you didn't even bother inquiring what my condition was, whether I could talk. And then he fucking hung up on me. That was it. Just hung up on me. So, I nearly lost the deal, and I could have completely lost my partner too. He just hung up on me. He didn't say, well done, congratulations. I'm really happy for both of us, all of us, whatever. Yeah.
That's wild. And I imagine relief. Are you like stoked though? Like, I mean, what's that feeling like when you've just sort of gone, wow, like, did you have to go and just like lay in a dark room?
Yeah, well, so we settled about 2 weeks later. I had to go to New York to do the settlement because they were based in New York. Well, their representatives were based in New York in the city. So I went to New York, flew out of New York, booked in a hotel, booked in a fancy hotel would not normally stay at. I booked in the Four Seasons. The deal had to settle in Australian time as well, so it was like 11:30 at night. I had to go to their lawyer's office uptown somewhere. I walked up there. New York was pretty quiet. I can't remember what night of the week it was. It was just the middle of the week. I got it all done. I got a piece of paper confirming my share and Elsie's share. I walked back to the hotel. I got a beer out of the fridge and I rang the concierge, ordered a pizza. and sat there on my own. And I thought, what the fuck? Like, to be honest with you, it was a relief, but it was total anticlimax. It wasn't really about it took me a long time to work out what I'd done. And it better way, put me a long time to work out what was important in relation to what I'd done. And it wasn't the check. It wasn't beating or doing a deal with General Electric. It was probably more, to be honest, it was more about how I'd built the business, or all of us had built the business, not just me, how everybody had built the business, and all our interactions and all the good times we've been through, all the shit times we've been through, all the sweat, all the drama, all the stress. I lost a marriage over it. Like, it's all those things, and it was, and I felt a sense of loss as well, because I now no longer own this thing that I loved. That was my thing. I mean, they kept me on for a long time anyway, because they kept me on as chairman, and I ended up doing another deal with them. So James Packer and I ended up doing a deal with them, and we set up a business in India and other places around the world, and places like Mexico, West Germany, Russia, and Brazil. So James and I reinvested money back with G, and we owned a business 60-40 with them around the world, similar sort of business. Right. We opened up 58 branches in India.
Really?
Yeah. Right. Called Wizard. So, but then the GFC hit and everything stopped. But yeah, it was a numbness. Yeah.
I can actually kind of understand that, especially because there's not like you fucking popping streamers and everything. Sort of, it's like, and being by yourself.
I was sitting there by myself.
Not being able to go and celebrate.
Yeah. But I probably wouldn't have. I mean, I mean, you would think, I would think at the time that I'm going to go mad.
Yes, that's what I would think.
Yeah, I was sort of on my own, like not married or anything like that. You might think, I'll just make a few phone calls, fill the room up, but but I didn't. I actually had no interest in that. I was probably exhausted too.
Next up, we got the mulleted man, Jai Arrow. He's talking about the 2020 Origin series. I don't really want to hear about it because that was a tough series if you are a New South Welshman. Obviously, if you're a fucking tree climber up north, the Queenslanders, you'll love this story. Basically, 2020 Origin, everyone writing them off. Wayne Bennett again at the helm, fucking backs against the wall. They're all climbing trees. And I'll just let Jai take it from here, eh?
What's it like when you get into an Origin camp? Like, do they sit you down and watch like old sort of Queensland Origin videos and sort of get you going? Like the history of the state and all that sort of shit?
You learn about it. You learn about the state, the history and what's gone on and things like that.
Arthur Beetson.
Yeah. So Arthur was a big reason on last year's series and what he's done for Queensland and things like that. That was kind of like a motivation in last year's camp. And I suppose rolling to this one, you always remember those things and stuff. But you do learn about the history, and then you see all the past players that come in and talk and have their say on what it was like playing for Queensland and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And as I've said, man, I still pinch myself thinking, what the fuck? How am I here?
Yeah.
How am I here right now? And I'm very lucky that I've been able to do that.
What's it like having played with your current coach in Origin?
Weird.
Is it weird? Is he the same?
Weird,
is he the same as he was when he was a player to now?
I've said that.
Because we sort of feel like he talks a bit like a bush poet these days as a coach. He's sort of like the way he sort of speaks. And we love, like, we're big Billy Slater fans, not during Origin time, obviously, but like the way he speaks about like Queensland and passion and, we're people that have fires and floods. And
it sounds like it's come from New South Wales.
Yeah, fucking oath it
is. Behind a training and that, he was like he was as he was playing. I remember the first training session very vividly on him training, and I was just in awe, going, this bloke, he's coaching. He's coaching from the back, like how he's making everyone's job easy for him.
Yeah.
I remember just shaking my head, going, fuck, how good's this guy? And I wonder why he was the player he was. He breaks the game down so well. I don't think people really understand how well he breaks the game down and how much confidence he gives you as a player, knowing you have a set in stone game plan that all you have to do is go out and play your role and do your job, and the result will take care of itself, and showed over the past 2 years since he's coached. So, yeah, it helps.
Yeah. And do you feel like you have to behave differently towards him? I mean, I guess when you came in, you were young anyway, so he was sort of senior, but like, you know, do you feel like you have to act in a different way around him when he's a coach as opposed to when he's a player, or is he pretty cruisy? He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think he's just cruisy. You don't really have to act any different to what it was like playing with him. So, nah, not at all.
What's Ubuntu mean?
I am because we are.
Okay.
Just checking.
Just checking in you, mate. I'm just checking.
I was actually invested in that.
What is it? So like that was like your motto, right, for the year?
Yep. It was our motto. It was just something that I suppose they brought in because he's probably said this before, but I feel like being a Queenslander, that it's much more bigger than just the team. It's the whole state and things. So I suppose you can take it how you want it, but I am because we are is more, to me, it's because we're a whole. It's an us thing. It's not just an individual thing. And so, yeah.
I was going to say, do you look at New South Wales and just
go, going to ask the exact same fucking question.
You don't get it? You don't get Origin?
They just don't get it.
Is that like, do
you guys see it?
I don't know.
Like when you look at us, what do you see?
Do you see like, you just like, you fucking losers don't get it?
No, it's not that. It's more that I think it's not that they just don't get it. Or maybe they don't. Fucks me. I really don't know. But maybe it's just because we're good. We're a good team.
Yeah, but you've rolled out bad teams.
You've rolled out like less good teams and got the job done over us. You know what I mean? Like that's where
like the 2020 side.
The 2020 side.
Worst side all time. Still off.
You know what? I reckon the New South Wales media absolutely, they fueled a fire in us that there was absolutely. I remember Wayne coming in before game 3. After the game 2 loss, and the next day we had a meeting. We did review on that and got on the beers after, and he just said, "There's no fucking way we're losing this next game." And then the media had come out and started saying that this was the worst team in 40 years, etc. And we believed Wayne. We're like, "There's no fucking way we're losing this game. We're at Suncorp.
Yeah.
These mongrels outside are bagging us. There's no way we're losing," and we didn't. We just went out there with absolutely nothing to lose, and I feel like the media really shot them in the foot,
Yeah,
time.
We like doing that down here.
Wouldn't be the first time. How do you feel when you see someone like Cameron Munster just lighting it up?
Turn it on?
Yeah, just turn it on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You must chub up.
You don't, when you're in the moment and playing, you don't really appreciate it until, say, you come off and rewatch the game. You go, fuck, man, how good was he? Probably nearly single-handedly won us that game.
Yeah, well, that's the opinion I'm of.
In 2020.
Ridiculous.
Harry Grant was pretty good as well.
Yeah, Harry Grant was good. He was good. Was that his first game?
Try. Yes, he was.
Yeah, it was his first game. Yeah,
was his debut.
Sick of Queenslander debuts as well.
That was the time.
They're all
Queenslander
good.
Yeah, I know.
Munsters
they're all
the same.
fucked. But that was that
Pongers
game.
was good.
That was that game where they won that. Where we were in the Uber that day and we're talking to the Uber driver and we were like, "Mate, we're gonna fucking hump those Queenslanders tonight." And he just goes to us, "Boys, you haven't seen enough winters." We're like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You haven't seen enough winters, boys. I've seen this before. We're in trouble." And we were like, "Shut up, mate."
Yeah.
And we go and get fucking done. And we were looking at each other like, "We haven't seen enough winters, bro. Fuck."
Like our favourite saying now as well. But he just said it so matter of fact because we'd already had a couple of beers and I was just lipping up. Like
on the way to Caxton?
No, we were in Sydney. We were just going to a pub to watch it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, mate, look how many weapons we got in the duffel bag, crapping on and on and on. He just didn't say much at all. And then at the end he goes, "Boys, you haven't seen enough winters. We're going to get pumped tonight." And we're like, "Mate, there's no way. Have you seen their side?" Anyway, we're pulled by the media.
We lose that one.
We lose
the
that
series.
one.
Cherry Evans holds the fucking trophy.
Do you just get off? I'm curious. Do you come off the ground after a win like that, just smiling at each other, going, "Just another one"?
So that was my first Origin series win, and I had the biggest smile on my face, not because of the whole media shit, but because we had won. And I couldn't believe it, and I knew we were going to Byron too, and I knew majority of the boys were coming, and they did. I just, as soon as I got in the sheds, I grabbed the 4X tinny and just went mad.
Because that's right, because it was after the season. So it was like the season was done. So it was just, that's actually almost the best series win you could have,
You can just come out and you're done.
You're done for the year.
Yeah, it was straight in to an Origin Mad Monday.
And that was that when Munster came back in and he was like the most hungover man on the
He'd
planet?
won the comp, came in and then went back out.
What a year for him.
Yeah, I know.
And the Melbourne boys. They just won the comp and had to come into camp on whenever it was, looking
that photo of him in the team
as a dog. He wanted to be there.
Yeah,
he definitely wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Just more come off with a mad smile, going, "Fuck, I just can't wait." It was just one of my first Origin series at Suncorp. As soon as he got in the sheds and
it was on
started throwing 4X tinnies up and down on Alfie Langer, and it was good.
How's Wayne in that moment?
Big strut on him, chest out. People are bagging him, backs against the wall, and Wayno's pulled off another miracle. Apparently, he was really good. He made that camp so fun and so enjoyable that I think that's what's got us over the line. Just the way Wayne sort of he organised things throughout the camp for us to have fun, to be together. We had obviously been in the bubble where we weren't allowed to do anything, which was weird. But he just made it fun and enjoyable for us, and it reflected on the field.
Yeah. What, like golf and cars?
Yeah, golf, things like that, like getting big believer of a bonding session.
Yeah,
just
right.
Quietly.
We banned it this year in New South Wales camp.
Did they?
It was alcohol free.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, big believer. No, I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. I'm not a big believer in the bonding session, but like he made it fun. He let us be men, and we got to do what we wanted. And we had games nights, every night, because we couldn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
We did get we were able to play golf and go to the beach, but we had basically stay in a huddled group like bloody flock of birds or flock of sheep with a security guard taking us down to the beach, and no one could come near us. He's like telling people to fuck off. Hey, no, don't go near him. People have obviously seen us, like Queensland kid on, and they're MAD up there in Queensland for the Queenslanders and wanting to get photos and that. So we had to keep our distance from people walking.
That must have been very, very weird.
Now, it was bullshit.
Yeah.
Obviously, you just know what happened in 21. Look back now, Jesus. It was absolutely ridiculous, like that bubble situation. But I understand at the time, it was the unknown with COVID.
Well, the world was ending at the time.
Yeah, well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was such an unknown thing that they had our best, interests at heart with, for medical reasons. But now COVID's the flu. Like, fuck, it's crazy. You look back now.
It's wild, isn't it?
2020. Wow, what a
wild.
year.
It feels weird. It's all blurred into one as well. Like I don't really know what the fuck happened.
Foz, Kieran Foran, another close personal friend of Tom and I. One of Manly's favourite sons, and remains so, even though he's taken his talents elsewhere. We talk all things Des Hasler with Foz. Some very interesting yarn here. Des, seemingly one of the weirdest blokes on the planet. So Foz really opens your eyes in this next yarn, punters and dribblers. Also talks about being a granddad and still playing rugby league football, which is unheard of.
Unheard of. What's Des like? Because I mean, I've told this story a few times on the podcast. When I was in radio as a producer,
it's worth repeating.
I didn't have. He was in between jobs. Sorry, Des, you got sacked. And I think it might have been post Bulldogs. So he was doing like breakfast radio, like he'd come in and talk a bit of footy. And obviously, if you've ever heard Desi speak, riveting, great voice for radio. Yeah. But I didn't know he was coming in, and the producer, like the main producer, was like away or some shit, and they didn't give me his number. He didn't have my number, so I'm just sitting there going, I think I knew he was coming in. No, I'm like, where the fuck's Des Hasler? Like, we're about to start, and then I finally get his number and I call him, and it's pissing down rain outside, and I've just left Des Hasler in the rain for like 45 minutes. And look, he was not stoked coming in. I couldn't have been more effusive in my apologies. And he was pretty chill. Like, I mean, what the fuck's he going to do? But,
punch you.
Well, he could have punched me. He certainly could have done that, and that would have probably been deserved. But, like, he seems like kind of Is he different to the way he's seen in the media, the way he's like sort of front-facing persona is?
Yeah, he's a bit of a piss take sometimes when he fronts the media. I think like when you know him on that level, you know he's a bit tongue-in-cheek at times with the media. But yeah, no, he's look, Des is a winner. I guess that's probably his greatest trait, I would say, would have been when he was a player and having been a coach. I think he lives and dies by winning, and he sort of, I guess that filters down into the groups that he coaches, and
But you guys would take the piss out of him and stuff, wouldn't you? Like,
for sure, yeah. No, he likes a joke. He's not all sort of huff and puff and serious all the time. Like he likes to loosen the collar and have a laugh at times.
And how do you then, like, as a younger player coming in, when do you feel comfortable enough to start taking the piss out of the coach?
Yeah.
Like, is it immediate? Do you have to like earn your stripes?
I reckon it takes a while. Yeah. I don't know as a young bloke if I would have been too eager to take the piss out of Desi, but certainly as you get on and you build that relationship with him, you feel like you can pull his leg a bit.
Yeah. Did he ever let you in on his hair care secrets?
No.
Because his hair.
It's luscious, isn't it?
Oh, but I mean, like, let's be honest, mate. You had a fucking top knot for a period of time.
I
You got
did.
some luscious hair.
Yeah.
If you let it go, your hair is Des Hasler.
I'm actually tempted to grow it back now.
You're going back?
Yeah.
Well, when Des comes up next year, you can be ready.
Yep.
It looks like honey just flowing from the scalp.
He does have a good head of hair, doesn't he?
No, he does.
He does.
But
What is he, 63? Like...
That's right, like not looking like it's really going grey.
It's not going anywhere.
Like it's just
that's a great point.
True.
The colour as well.
Sandy.
Really strong. It's actually ridiculous for his age if you think about it.
Mate, I reckon if you might find like lost shit in his hair, like, you know what I mean? It's so thick.
What,
and
like
lush.
treasure maps?
Well, like MH370 maybe. I don't know. Potentially. It's so fucking
Lost surfers.
Yeah, exactly.
He was, I remember, I think you were telling me this, Tom, but didn't he used to have this like system, mathematical equation where he'd sort of like, he'd weight different parts of the game and think he could,
he's very stat driven, like which is a good thing in a way because he sort of, that's how I guess he breaks down where he needs to improve, like where the side needs to improve and where it's, going well. He's got numbers for everything. And he talks in 4.6, 3.6, depending
does he?
on, he's not talking 3s and 4s. He's
he's talking
decimal points. He's getting real specific.
Oh, yeah.
Mad scientist shit. Can that become a bit draining? He's like, listen, dude, I know he's about to become your coach, so like, but at least you know him already.
Not draining for me, mate. I love it. Yeah.
Are you a bit of a nerd like that as well, like a rugby league nerd, like in terms of that?
I'm a footy head. Yeah, I love me footy.
You watching? How many games are you watching? Like during the season, I imagine it's quite consuming. You still watching every other team?
I'm watching every game.
Really?
Yeah, I'm watching every game.
And is that enjoyment? What percentage enjoyment and also like analytical?
Nah, I love it. Yeah, I would do it even if I wasn't playing.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's good to watch other teams just to get get an idea of how they're playing. But I just love watching footy.
Tell you what, rugby league guru would be nervous hearing that.
Yeah, he would.
We always say, geez, people that watch every game.
Media guy.
But Big Foz giving him a run for his money.
Yeah.
Mate, as we wrap up, thank you very much again for coming on. We weren't sure whether you were aware, but you're currently, and we've sort of gone through the history books, the only grandfather to play in the NRL.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Trebojevic have tipped you up.
Thanks for that. How do you feel about Poppy Foran?
We've been calling you Poppy Foran.
Poppy Foran, yeah. And I know Jake and Tom have put you up to this, so thank you. Can we say step? I am step Poppy.
Well, step Poppy. How do you, what's been a grandfather
It's beautiful.
like?
It's beautiful. It's great. Get lots of cuddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patches, are they coming out yet?
Like
walking stick. You got the body of a grandfather.
I feel like it at times. Yeah, that's why I can get away with it,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, eh?
It is cool.
It's cool.
It's
sick.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
especially because you're still playing.
Oh, I know.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Have you?
Jake and Tom had a good laugh about that one, especially Turbo.
Yeah, I bet. Now, this next yarn is from an absolute legend of Australian sport, dual code international, premiership winner, Lote Tuqiri. And basically during his initial rugby league run with the Broncos, when they won the comp, they were hot shit. And basically the Kings of Brisbane, that they had unlimited drinks cards at certain establishments. I won't go into it anymore because that would be pointless, because that's what Lote's here to do. So I'm going to allow Lote to take over from here, and I'm going to stop talking. Does that sound good, Ed?
Love that, mate. Well done. Great decision. We've been talking to a couple of current footy players that have been coached by Wayne Bennett recently. They give you a little bit of insight into how loose the man can actually be. There's a couple of stories that have been retelling us about him coming into the bloody video sessions with his pants around his legs, just to sort of diffuse any tension in the air. Was he loose when you were there in the early 2000s, mate, or has he got looser over time?
Looser as he's gotten a bit older. You know, he's starting to lose his body. When they pan up to him at times on the telecast, right? He's nearly asleep. I don't think it's just a means to an end for him just watching footy. No, he didn't do too much of that stuff. He looks a lot more jovial now. I think some of the stuff he does is pretty cool. One of the main things I've never seen, I don't think a lot of people have seen him drink, but after we won the 2000 grand final, we're on our training ground. We're making a makeshift campfire. We're putting sort of stuff in. Probably weren't allowed to do it with the Broncos, obviously, in Brisbane. So people turned a blind eye. He came down and we're having a few beers, a few Forex goals, whatever. Everyone starts geeing him up, you know, neck of beer, neck of drink. Then after a bit, he sort of sits down and lets it go for a little bit. Blokes are up there at different times, necking something for something stupid he did. Out of the blue, he gets up. He got someone to bring over some lemonade. So he's a shandy. Whatever it was, it may have been 3/4 lemonade, a quarter Forex gold. He's necked it. The boys are going up. Sensational. Haven't seen him touch a drop since, even before that. But the boys were on. Everyone. I think Gordy went over and started picking him up, and throwing him in the fire. So that was pretty. Was there some like odd experiences of when you're like the Brisbane Broncos in Queensland that you can just do within reason, like get away with fucking murder? No, nothing.
Give us something, Lote.
Back in the day, which is never allowed now. I think I see the older blokes. So sometimes I see Murray Daly different times. Blokes in the 90s when they used to come to Brisbane. When I first came in, we had an unlimited drinks card to a place called City Rose, which was in the city, which is now on the water. So you could go in there after a game, order as many drinks as you wanted.
Jesus.
I remember going in with mates, boys, let's go. 5 deep. Yeah. And then
would they see you coming and just be like, oh shit, Lote's rolling in with his boys?
No, they just see all of us rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the whole side's coming in.
Straight upstairs, which I don't know if that happens these days, but they were a sponsor. It was a approved sponsor. So it was like, holy hell, not fly these days, right?
No.
Did you have a physical card that said unlimited drinks?
It was a physical, and I reckon it was the laminated. Remember the old laminated? Well, I don't know if you blokes are old enough. The laminated IDs with your photo on it.
Nah, we're that's before our time. Our licenses were a little bit more official, I think.
Yeah, well, this is what was going on, and then sometimes you just give it to your mate, go get a few drinks. They just look over. Yep, that's me. Yeah, madness. Absolutely.
That's living. That's like if you ask like what could you dream of? It's like an unlimited.
Mate, a physical car with my photo on it that I can use for Pierce whenever I want is ridiculous.
But Wayne's he's an old copper. So he had the streets wired, mate. So you played up, you're in his office the next day, or like it'd work in your favour, or it may have not. So you'd go straight to him, and then the press would know. So back in the day, they probably used to shut down a few things. I obviously didn't do anything crazy, but all that menial stuff that journos pick up now, probably like a bloke peeing in the bush or paying Huss, and who got in trouble the other week about stepping on his shoes last year.
Yeah. Payne and Albert Kelly. That just would have been, come up here, let's have a chat about what happened last night. Wouldn't have been in the press, whereas now all of that stuff, if you're having a bit of a tiff with the missus, she's trying to tell you to go home, all that sort of stuff. You can't fart in public these days as a footballer without someone knowing about it.
Well, you can, but yeah, it's going to be. Sadly, that's where it is now. I mean, they get paid a fair bit of money. I don't like how people say that. Like, well, they get paid a lot of money to, they can't do anything anyway. It comes with the territory. Fair enough, but they are human as well.
Yes,
like they're young. 19-year-old. Is with his mates having a good time, right? And these guys are expected to live by society standards of 40, 50-year-old men.
Well, just to be faultless as well. Like there seems to be very little, grace given to someone fucking up. It's like, if you had a camera on you 24/7, and I certainly know that you and I would be in
big trouble,
huge trouble,
huge trouble.
In your early 20s, late teens, right?
Definitely, or in your early 30s,
or in your early 30s, even your 40s, Lottie, 50s. You just get better at hiding it, mate. I think. This next show on Punters and Dribblers would have been my favourite. Well, actually, it is my favourite of the year, comfortably.
Yep.
The great Ben Tszyu came in and he spins this yarn about how they used to go on rugby league army camps, pre-season army camps. I was giggling like a schoolgirl, like a schoolboy. I was giggling like someone who goes to school. Fucking terrific.
You were giggling like someone getting a tertiary education.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. I was giggling like someone getting a tertiary education, Punters and Dribblers. That's how fucking funny it was. Ben Tszyu, an elite yarn spinner. Best
Yarn
in the
Pittman.
Yeah, a Yana Pittman, Rawlinson Pittman. Take it away, Ben Tszyu.
And what about the player development side of things? Because I imagine that would also be addictive, seeing like players get better and like reach their potential, and like maybe you're putting a bit of faith in someone to do something or to like step up, and then seeing them do that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones though. It's never it just never goes up and up. It just goes up and it drops. And you got to build them back up, and it drops. And it's just, and sometimes it becomes frustrating. But what I do know as a player myself is I was that. Yeah, I did those. I went up and I went down and went up. So when you're a coach, you just got to have some patience with some guys. But there's a point there where you got to be ruthless too. And you just got to make a call for the team.
In that first year that he gave you, like how long into it did it take for you to be like, oh, I like this? Or like, was there a period there at the start where you're like, oh, fuck?
Not one period where I thought, nah, this ain't for me.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was like you were saying. It's like once you got in, you just get in deeper and deeper and become pretty obsessive about it. So the first team I took was that Colts side, and I took them and I was running them up hills in the off season, and we were wrestling, and it was just full blown. And so, not seeing any results. It's preseason, but I'm just wondering how's this going to translate into the rounds. So, but you never know. You never know if there's more you can do. So sometimes because there's a point where you can't go past.
Yes,
you can train guys hard, but there's a point there where it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So You just got to go up and touch it and then back off of it.
Otherwise, it gets detrimental.
Yeah, it does.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I imagine have you had those experiences as a player where you like a coach has flogged you? Isn't Madge a notorious psychopath?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was. There's some. I think there's a park just around the corner here, Sydney Park. There was a lot of tough days there. That was sort of the first 2 weeks back from pre-season you'd run. I think you'd run like a 3.5K time trial and then you'd have 5-minute rest and do it again.
You got to be joking.
Yeah, you'd do it again. And I'll never forget, Isaac Luke went on a Tri-Nations tour one time and he come back and that was his first session. And I remember doing the 3.5K loop and not really seeing him. He was at the back somewhere, he'd put on weight and 5-minute rest and doing the second one, running and just seeing him laying in the garden. he had fainted in the garden and there was trainers putting water on him. But it was, I'd done pre-seasons at West Tigers. I had done 4 years at the Broncos. And I had never seen anything like what we did at South Sydney. Like some of the stuff, and you can ask all the players that were there who have been at other places. It was crazy.
And so, how crazy? Is it too much? Do you think it was too much in terms of what you're doing now? Tessie Pop, sorry.
Too much. Yeah, it was probably. I had enough.
Yep.
2 years was enough for me. And I ran off to rugby and Sam ran off too. So, maybe it was a bit much. But we got success. So, I'll always be thankful for him for pushing me to a place that I didn't know I could go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now when you look back and your career's over and you've got a premiership and I've got friends that don't, it was all worth it. At the time, I thought he was crazy. I thought he was nuts. The army camps, the long runs, the wrestling sessions, 3 sessions a day, getting in there at 7 a.m., leaving at 5:30 p.m. It was just...
What's the dynamic like with player and coach in a situation like that where you're like, this motherfucker is trying to kill me?
Yeah.
But are you still friends with him? Or is it a bit more like authoritarian?
Nah, he was very much authoritarian. He was scary. He was intense and he could just fly off the handle like at any time. So everyone was shit scared of him, to be honest.
Really?
I think the only time I got angry at him in my second, 2014, 2013 we went on the most ludicrous army camp I've ever been on in my life. It was run by the SAS guys. Terrific. So it was like that show, but it was full on. And then the second year we went again and it was bad again. And I remember sort of packing up my kit and like fronting him and telling him that I'm fucking leaving. Like I've had enough of this. Like if this is what footy's about, I'm out. Yeah. Like, I don't need it, blah. And he sort of talked me off the cliff a little bit. But that was one time where I got to the point where I said, mate, you've gone bananas. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, no wonder Sammy Burgess won the show because he'd done it before.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, mate, this is a piece of piss.
Easy compared to the Madge camp.
Except when he was stuck in that tunnel and he was getting, like, I would have been dead.
Is that the one you had to go underwater?
Yeah, he went under. He was in the tunnel and he couldn't get out because of his shoulder. And he was in there for like an hour. Like, I'd be dead from
I'd hate that.
being claustrophobic.
I'd die. I would die.
You'd have a heart
panic.
attack, I'd say.
Are all the boys talking like sort of almost bitching in the background, being like, this is fucked? Or are you trying to be as professional as you can and just...
Well, there's some guys that are trying to like, impress the coaches with their leadership skills and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm probably pretty good. Like if you're going on army camp for 3 days, I'm pretty good for like a day and maybe a night. And then I become very negative, especially when... you're being woken up at like you go to bed at 1 a.m. and you get woken up at 3 a.m. by screaming soldiers telling you, get the fuck up, we're going, get your kid on. And I never forget this one where, I don't know, it's a hard one to describe to get in people's head, but we were in this big like factory, maybe where shed, like where they have planes and stuff. It was huge. And we sat in there and we sat in this room and it was dark and we weren't really allowed to talk to anyone. So you had to sit there in silence. And we're just sitting there and the guy comes out with 2 wheelbarrows of rice and he goes, he pours it out 1 wheelbarrow of white rice and 1 wheelbarrow of brown rice. And he mixes it all up with his foot. And he goes, separate it, and walks off. So you got a whole top 30 squad like down on their stomach, and we're just like, I'm separating like brown rice and white rice, and like, yeah, for hours, right? And then boom, over the loudspeaker comes that song, Highway to the Danger Zone. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's all right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're working hard here, separating. They give us a bit of music, fair enough. So start separating. Anyway, the song goes on repeat, and it just keeps going for like 4 hours.
Oh my God, dude.
So we're separating this rice. Danger Zone's going loud over the speaker. No one's allowed to speak to each other. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And we're looking around. I'm thinking, when's this going to end? And one of the boys was like, we all had gum. So one of the guys was chewing his gum. And anyway, the doors bust open, and like 4 or 5 of these army guys come running in and grab one of the guys. And he's like looking, and he's just grab him by the scruff and pick him up and take him. So like we're all like looking around. You're like, not allowed to talk. So we're like, what's going on? So he goes, and he's gone for about 40 minutes. Next minute, he comes in like they're dragging him in, and he's covered in sweat, and he can hardly walk. And I'm like looking, so everyone like swallows their gum all at the same time, and look, and then they grab another guy and take him. And they were just taking guys 4 at a time and bringing them back. Like the guys could hardly walk, and they were just so fatigued. And I'm thinking, what are they doing to them out there? Next thing, they grab me. So they took me, and they throw you in this room, and you're in this dark room, and there's 4 doors.
What the fuck?
Yeah. There's 4 doors. And then you can hear people like smashing on the doors and kicking the doors. So you're just standing in there like waiting for them to come in. And they're just trying to scare you. They're getting you really anxious. And then they end up grabbing you, and they take you down, and they got you in a lane. There's all these lanes, and they got you in a lane, and there's a rowing machine there. They say, get on the rowing machine. And they just say, row. And you just row, and they go harder, faster, harder, faster. And they keep going, row, row, row. Then they get you on the chin-ups, doing chin-ups, push-ups, and they just smashing you till like you can hardly like move your arms. And then they throw you on the mat, and they make you fight a fresh army guy. So your arms are gone, can't do anything. This guy like throws you on the mat, and he's like choking you out and like got you in the headlock, and you got no energy to do anything. Yeah. And so yeah, that was pretty much it. I got choked out like 3 times. and then I got grabbed and taken back into the main shed, and I come walking in like that and drop down, and then they take other people.
And so, you go back to separating rice.
And you go back to separating rice. Yeah. And that was the night that kind of went from like 9 p.m. through to maybe 1 a.m., something like that. And then they took us back to our beds, and they let us sleep for about 45 minutes, and then kicked open the door and said, get up, we're walking. So
oh my
like
God,
that's some of the stuff.
That's the gnarliest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, and we've heard a couple of those.
No, but that was great.
That's kind of like so fucked.
But like, yeah. But I never forget the anger of being like choked out by this military guy. I'm sure they felt sorry for us too, but you just couldn't do anything. Yeah. You were just so fatigued. You hadn't slept well. You hadn't eaten. And
are you rattled after that a little bit? Like when you're back in there separating rice, you're like, what the fuck did I just go through?
Well, you're just wondering. I think you're wondering what's next, because if we're at this point, and you just got to imagine that song's still going, so it's loud. Like you can't really think. We're not allowed to talk to each other. You're thinking, what are the next few days?
Where's Madge in all this? What's he doing?
He was, I actually caught his eye, because when I'm literally getting choked, and I'm getting choked, I kind of looked up, and there was almost like a little deck up the
like
top.
A viewing deck?
And he was a viewing deck.
Oh my God,
and he was sitting on the viewing deck just watching guys get
watching and
punished.
drinking.
And he's trying to learn something about you. So
sure.
Are you gonna fight? You know, are you gonna let this guy just bash you down there? What are you gonna do? So
Hectic.
Are they common now, the army camps in footy clubs, or are they sort of
I think people are veering away from them.
Mm.
I think there was a time and a place for them, but I mean, every team's done them, and only one team wins the comp every year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a good point.
Usually the teams that have great academy systems, who have the best players, who train well on a weekly basis, I think that's a little bit more important than a 3-day SAS camp at the start of the year.
Next up, friend of the show, Harry Garside of qualified for a second Olympics fame. Fucking oath, he's going to go win a gold for the nation. Gold for the nation.
Gold.
In the boxing, first Australian to do it. He talks about, he has this thing that he likes to do where he likes to put himself in uncomfortable situations as part of, I think, personal growth. Then also, I think, maybe as part of when I'm uncomfortable getting punched by people, I can revert back to these uncomfortable challenges. And, again, I'm not a big athlete, fucking self-development guy, so I don't know what I'm talking about. It's maybe better to let Harry do it. But basically, it involves being nude on a beach.
Correct.
And yoga.
Correct.
I may do a pose.
You said last time we were on here, and I remember Tom told the story about you like to put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, like you were washing windows and stuff. What have you been up to lately?
I've done
anything you want to share?
Yeah, I've done a few good ones. I don't know how uncomfortable. Maybe this is probably a funny story. I went to a nude beach. Oh, yeah. And I love getting naked.
Well, I've seen you in a zoot suit. He's hogged up. It was after a run or something. I'm like, I could see that at a nude beach. I could pretty much see it anyway.
The Sunshine Coast, and I look up online where's it hidden nude beach, and I go to this beach. It's pretty early in the morning, maybe like 9 o'clock. No one on the beach. I'm thinking, fuck, this is a bit quiet.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, anticlimactic. So I'm sitting there, just got naked, just sitting there having a good time. And then 10 Asian tourists, fully clothed, walking. I'm thinking, I think I've got the wrong fucking beach. I think I got the wrong beach. And I'm messaging the people who helped me find the place. I'm like, I think I'm at the wrong beach because they just dropped me off. There was 2 girls. They dropped me off and they went to another beach. I think I'm at the fucking wrong beach.
Oh my God.
So I'm just laying there naked. Asian tourists are walking past. I'm like, fuck.
Were you at the wrong beach?
Were you at the wrong beach?
Well, we ended up doing, so there was a smaller beach, like the one across. So yes, I was at the wrong beach.
Oh my God.
I'm lucky it was early in the morning.
Big sandy hog just laying there.
Imagine getting done for indecent exposure or something.
Okay, that's the last thing at the moment. Harry Garside's found fucking
mate, I respect
butt-ass naked.
I respect you doing that. I remember me and Ella there's a nudist beach in near Balmoral, and I was like, we'll go down there, nice day. And she's like, it's a nudist beach. I'm like, nah, there won't be anyone down there. Get down there, and it's fucking packed. Like hundreds of nudists down there. And really? I was just like, we're just walking around, me and Ella, and I'm like maybe looking for a spot to perch up, not get naked, but just get in the water. And then I should just look at each other. I'm like,
but going to a nudist beach and not getting naked, it's kind of like you're drawing so much. You're drawing more attention to yourself than the dude with his dick out.
No, we were looking for an area there was a bit sort of quiet,
semi-nude,
just like. Not nude, right?
We're on the wrong beach.
But there was no part of me that's like, fuck it.
No.
Nah, not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I get it for it. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, this month
you're hogged up, so maybe that's
This month I'm doing is it colonic? Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah,
I'm sort of running out of ideas. There's a few things on my list that I really need to tick off, like stand up comedy. I'm organising that in November. That's going to be an absolute cracker because I'm. Can
you let us know when you do it?
I don't think I'll be letting anyone know. I've told all my
mates.
We'll
promote it on the podcast.
I've told all my mates at high school, they're like, fuck, make sure you let us know. We'll come. We won't even fucking laugh. I imagine awkward that be. All my mates rock up. They don't fucking show any support.
No, exactly. It's like
mate of mine did it because he lost a bet. He came last in his NFL fantasy and. He did it in New York, but one of my other mates filmed him doing it. It was one of the toughest watches I've ever been through. It was, shout out Johnny Gate, it was appalling.
Yeah, and you just go, you're transported into the room when he's doing it. You're just like, holy shit, dude. Oh my God.
Have you boys ever done any stand-up?
No.
We did something at the comedy club.
We've done live events and shit, which there's an element of but that one it's not like here's a joke I've written. You know what I mean? Where it's and it's on you.
But we were trying to make people laugh with.
True.
That was like a set.
Yes, we had a set.
I've never been more nervous.
But it worked. It was so the great cricketer friends of the show, they did a live show at the Comedy Store. We opened for them. And this was when we were like, this is a few years ago now, like our audience is much smaller. Most people wouldn't have known who we were in the crowd. So you're not like doing a fucking something in front of your audience that knows you. Like you've got a friendly audience there. So like they can already get all your shtick. So we were fucking bricking it, dude. Like couldn't sleep the night before. I'm like laying on his couch like at 4 a.m. before we got to go do it. And I'm trying to fall asleep just to like get a couple of, well, we're literally just fucking we still hadn't like finished it.
We hadn't written it. And he was in radio at the time. So he's getting up at like 3 a.m. to go to work. So he had to have a nap. And I'm like, dude, we haven't written it. He's like, I need to have a nap. I'm like, Jesus Christ, mate. We're up against it. We were writing it, rewriting it. And he hadn't mentioned to me, but he was like shitting himself about the fact that we could bomb. I hadn't even considered that.
He said that to me after. He's like, I hadn't even thought of it. I'm like, how the fuck did you not consider that this isn't going to go well?
I was like, I wouldn't. If you'd put that in my head, I don't know if I would have got up there. I'd have been like, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm having a sickie.
Nah. But
Like,
thank Christ it worked.
We got a couple of laughs early out the gate, but mate, if we didn't get those early laughs,
it's like the ultimate humiliation, isn't it? Like that
it's
is
hectic.
Because no human wants to be embarrassed. It's like that is the worst feeling.
Yeah. And it is good. Like I can see the element of like putting yourself, I know you like to do it like in these uncomfortable situations. There's very little that's like that socially uncomfortable in something like that where you're so exposed and like having a fucking, it's so obvious the success and failure because the feedback is immediate and you're just like, oh shit. If you play music, you know, like you playing a song up there or something, like you don't really have a fucking idea if anyone likes it or not. You might know if people really love it, but if people hate it, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
I saw one of the ones you were doing where you were holding like a yoga pose, and I was like, you couldn't have picked like a more fucked pose.
So someone said it's called the frog pose, and someone sent it to me on Instagram. It's like I think it was something.
We're going to put a picture of it in the YouTube.
Yes, some yogi bear sent it to me on Instagram and was like, apparently it's trauma release. I did that for a minute and a half first day. It was 28 days, month of Feb. And by the end of it, I think it was 48 minutes in my master's.
And that's what was wigging me out. I was like, doing it for a minute's fine, but that position for 40 minutes.
I was crying for some of it.
Oh,
there
really?
Were some days where I was genuinely crying, like where I was like, it is actually supposed to be apparently some like trauma releases. I don't,
maybe
like,
it fucking hurts.
Yeah, some spiritual thing. But like there was sometimes I was like laughing, crying. Like I went through a whole range of emotions that month.
And like,
wow.
But I was trying to work out whether there's a part of me that wants to get down to the ground and try and show you what it is. But
can you show me? You may as well.
And look, you're critiquing, so I might get it wrong. But like,
oh, he's in jeans as well.
Yeah, it's sort of like this, right? Like you're sort of like
you're on your like that. Yeah,
feet together,
a little bit further in, as in your knees. Your knees
bring your knees under you.
Yeah, knees under you. And then but you got jeans on, and then you're trying to bring your knees out as far as you can. Yeah.
And he's doing that, and I hope no one's saw me trying to that one. It was fucking wasn't exactly poetry in motion, but like I would have thought that might actually do you some damage.
I was pretty stiff, and I was training like full time at that time as well, because I was competing in Europe, and I was generally pretty stiff in my hip flexors for sure. Yeah.
Were you a bit like, okay, maybe let's not do one where I could fucking be injured?
When you're in it, you're sort of just like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's so important, right? Like, I've always thought when we're the most unhappy, or when I'm the most unhappy with myself, it's when you're not upholding those little promises you make for yourself. Yeah. And then anytime I'm ever unhappy, or anytime I'm ever flat, the next day I fast for 24 hours. It's like a little reset for myself, because it's like I get my word back when I fast. It's a hard thing to do, and you fucking do it.
Okay, so like if you haven't done what you said you're going to do, then you're like...
Say if I'm feeling flat, it's consistently over time. I'm going, geez, I'm feeling a bit shit. Like, I don't know what's going on. The next day fast, and it's like usually just such a reset, because it's like I take power back, and I've got my word back.
To round us out for this second best of episode of All Talk episodes this year, a lot of episodes in there, punters and dribblers, forgive me, is with Tszyu, who is actually a cool motherfucker, very intimidating just because he takes people's souls for a living. He came in and spun a yarn about his brother Nikita, who was eating things overseas. I'll leave it there. Wild stuff. And also talks about his habit of posing in different NRL team jerseys. He sort of explains himself there.
He's almost a journeyman fan at this point.
He's not almost one. He appears to be one.
Yep.
Tszyu, take it away, bruh.
What's it like having Nikita going around? Like it's funny, I didn't know until obviously he came into the sort of no limit stable and started fighting, but like and with the utmost respect to him, didn't even know about Nikita, which I guess is probably to his benefit from having you sort of in the limelight. What's it like having? He's a fucking animal, dude. The Butch. We're big Butch.
We're big Butch guys.
Yeah, he's a weapon.
Butch guys.
What's it like having him coming through? That must be kind of like again, now you're on the family side of it. Are you a little more cold in that you're like
it's
in the boxing world? Or is it hard
to watch? It's hard to watch because now I understand my family and what they go through.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, man. It's nerve-wracking, and I've loved his progression. I remember when he just started, and to what he is now, he's a different. The confidence is different. He's maturing into himself.
Even the way he speaks, I feel like just from the outside perspective, he seems more comfortable in the 100%. Media.
Imagine he was an architect.
Yeah.
He was drinking his red wine at nights. Yeah, he was staying up all night. 2 nights. I remember 3 nights in a row, just non-stop studying and doing his artworks and drawing pictures or whatever he used to do. And he had this red wine. He used to sit like this.
Well, he's like us.
This red wine, drinking it. Drawing his pictures, and from that to like not speaking to no one to like complete opposite. You're in a room. Fox Sports press conference, Nikita Tszyu on the headline, first pro fight.
Yeah.
So of course it's a intimidating and shocking moment.
Yeah. Does he come to you and go like, I want to come back into boxing? Like, how did he sort of? Man, when did he put the red wine down, uncross his legs, and start fucking being an animal?
Because he's always been like a low key kid. He's never wanted a lot of attention on him. But I wanted him to feel, because I could see him starting to get in the ring, in training. I could see maybe a year before he turned pro that he's starting to train and he's starting to do stuff. And I could see Igor put him on the pads for like a couple of rounds and see how he's like. And then I said to him, Nikita, I go, come out. As soon as the fight finished with Dennis Hogan, I said, come out to the ring to let him feel it. And then I think as soon as he felt that, he knew straight away.
He's hooked.
Architecture can go.
Yeah. You
that
can
way.
Come back to this if you want to.
I want to pursue boxing.
Yeah.
He's got some serious power. Like, do you think that's his most valuable strength? Like at the moment, is just his ability to fucking knock people out.
Aggression. He's got crazy aggression.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming controlled aggression. I could see before it was just pure, like a pit bull, that bloke. You know, just as soon as he sees blood, knives, just that's it, you know. Even back in the days, he used to do this stupid thing, like, you know, when they do
the knife in the hand.
Oh, yeah.
This guy thought it was a competition, how quick you can go, you know. I remember him having cuts and everything. He used to love all that type of stuff, you know, and that's just, he's always been tapped like that.
So it's a little bit like I'm a screw loop. Yeah. I like the butcher for him then.
Yeah,
it's starting to make a lot of sense.
He's fucking terrifying coming
I think I heard, was it him or you potentially when he fought on your Sydney card, I think the Tony Harrison fight, that you don't want to fight on each other's cards again? It's just too stressful emotionally?
For him, I don't know. For me, it was all right because I didn't get to watch it.
Yeah, but for him.
Yes, it was all right for me. I was in my van, like, driving to the fights, and I didn't watch Nikita, and then I come out and Nikita's already won the fight. But I think for him, I don't think he enjoyed it.
Enjoy it too much. Is it a similar thing with the like advice? I think, do you give him much advice, or do you guys kind of let each other do?
Yeah, I try to give him a little bit, but sometimes I don't want to like be like my dad.
Yeah,
basically. I don't like to be like my dad.
Yeah.
So I always put that into consideration. But I always say, man, you should just do this, man, if you want. This is how I usually say, this is how I feel better. This is what I do. I go, but see how you feel.
Yeah. Obviously, when we're doing this, he's fighting Brubaker next Wednesday.
Yeah.
How do you think that'll go? Again, we may or may not keep it in, but
I think Nikita will smack him.
Smack him, mate. Yeah. That Brubaker's been around for a minute, hasn't he? Like, he was out a few years out, came back. You knocked him, didn't you?
Stopped him.
And Nikita wants to try and beat you by a round or some shit.
I reckon he will. Look, I think they're at different paths. Brubaker's got a kid, family. He's nice and relaxed. You know, he's a cowboy. He's got his long hair. He's living a good type of life. You know? Nikita, on the other hand, he's tapped. He's hungry. He's young. The blokes in Thailand eating king cobra hearts
What?
Yeah,
Is
King
he?
Cobra hearts and drinking their blood.
What the fuck?
The mentality's different.
Yeah, dude.
What do you talk me through that?
God.
Yeah, you're going
terrifying.
When you got two people like that, what are the chances? Who's going to win? You reckon?
Well, I reckon the bloke eating King Cobra hearts.
Exactly.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Exactly.
Talk me through the King Cobra heart thing. What's
Well,
that
they
about?
found it. It's I would love to do it as well because my dad did it when we were in Thailand, and me and Nikita both watched it back when we were young. But when he went to Thailand recently, he did it, and the reason for it is that when you prepare for battle, you have to have people used to eat the king cobra's heart to feel that king cobra in them and drink the blood.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's
so Nikita's done that, and he said he felt this. He said you feel this energy,
Really?
crazy energy. And apparently he's on the flight back home, and he could feel this energy from the king cobra.
Starts biting people.
I feel that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
But yeah,
I
it's
like
terrifying.
that.
I'm
It's
going to
scary.
give it a go next time I go to Thailand. I just didn't know about it. I forgot all about it.
Where do
but,
you go to get your hands on some king cobra heart? Like you got to go looking that shit out, right? They're
Oh,
not
it's a proper place.
Oh, so you can just do that if you're over there.
There's a place that does it, man. There's a place that
Really?
does it, yeah. And you tease the snake. It's like an aquarium. You tease the snake, so it's just popping out all this venom, and then one of the guys grabs it, just rips the skin off first, and then gets the heart. And Nikita said the heart was still beating.
When you eat it.
When he ate it, is it a one mouthful sort of operation, or do you have to?
He said he chewed on it as well.
Oh, did he?
I go, bro.
He's a
I go,
different.
man. I'll swallow the thing, but I'm not chewing on it.
Oh,
King Cobra heart.
I tell you what.
Whoa.
Mate, Anthony Bourdain is eating a king cobra heart.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a thing. The king cobra heart it's
It's a warrior mentality,
all
apparently.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we need to get our hands on some, Eddie.
You and I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck, if it's good enough for Nikita, and Kostya, it's good enough for me.
Shit, that is.
What do we do that before?
Well, yeah. I mean, it has to. I mean, we don't have any.
Before Oztag Division 3 on a fucking Wednesday night. Go there and play the game of my life, bro.
Throwing up everywhere.
Got that King Cobra in me, bro.
Fuck me, Dad. That's
That's wild stuff. But good knowledge.
Yeah, good knowledge.
That's
good
I'm going to use
Cobra.
that.
Yeah, I'll be taking that into my
But also
considerations next week.
Yeah, next week.
Next Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
That's right.
We've noticed, and I don't. Yeah, it's great to have you to at least answer for yourself that you've got yourself into a habit of wearing multiple NRL jerseys in some photo opportunities, and like I'm not. Like we're Manly Seagulls fans, and I've seen you I've seen you in a photo with a few Seagulls. I've seen you in a photo with a couple of Sharks, maybe a Sharks jersey on, Rabbitohs jersey one day. Like, I mean, what's going on here? Yeah,
Man, in all honesty, I'm a Bunnies fan.
You're a Bunnies man.
Yeah. Bunnies in New South Wales.
Okay,
Well, that's good. Well,
New
it's
South
half
Wales is
good.
good. It's half good.
Yeah.
So why are you wearing a Sharks jersey? Why are you Manly Seagulls? Like, I mean, if someone asked me to come down and like wear a Sharks jersey, I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Man, I said that to my media manager. He's like, nah, man, this is for the fight. Man, I go for the Bunnies, bro. I go, people are paying me out now, man. I go, this is not right. I go, I'm humiliating myself. He goes, nah, trust me. More pay-per-view buys. Oh, man. That's fucking funny.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, so you're a Bunnies man.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's another All Talk Best Of. Thank you for listening to these 2 episodes. Thank you for listening for all of them. Thank you for listening to any of the interviews we've done this year. Shout out to SEN for being great partners on this little All Talk journey of ours. Although you didn't invite us to the Christmas party, which is, it's either an accident
Or there wasn't one.
or it's one of the great Narbras Tessie Pop of all time. And maybe,
Is telling of the
is
year
telling of year
2024.
2024. Anyway, we're out here.
Could you two just not talk anymore?